Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Sethum and welcome back to another video guide for Ark Survival Evolved. Today in this video, folks, I'm going to be showing you how to tame the Mosasaurus. Now, this is one of my most favorite creatures in the seas in Ark, and of course, it is a very powerful creature to get. It is quite difficult if you don't know what you're doing, but this is why I'm here. So you'll need a scuba set for this. I'm going to use the tech armor set because it allows good visibility underwater. You also need a lot of narcotics, and it prefers the exceptional kibble. In order to ride it, of course, you will need to craft a saddle, and the Mosasaurus tends to have 3 saddles. So I'm going to show you the saddles and the requirements. I did misspell it. So here we go. That is the first saddle that you can craft at level 78. The second saddle can be crafted at level 93, and it is a platform saddle, which allows you to build on it. And finally, you have the tech saddle, which you unlock by defeating certain bosses. And they get progressively harder to craft because they require more resources. Now, in regards to the amount of narcotics that you will need, you will of course need, I would say, somewhere between 3 to 400 narcotics if it is a 2x taming event unofficial. Other than that, you will might possibly need somewhere around double that if it is just normal taming rates. So do bear that in mind. The Mosasaurus torpor does tend to go down rather quick. For this, I'm going to be using an anglerfish to kite it. I'm going to be using the same trap that I used in the plesiosaur video. As you can see, my anglerfish is quite tanky. It has a decent amount of speed, so you'll want somewhere around 120. It will allow you to outswim anything in the sea. And as you can see, I have clear visibility due to the tech armor. Also, you will want your anglerfish or whatever you choose to use, but I do suggest using an anglerfish, and you'll see why in a little bit. You want it to be tanky. It may take a couple of bites, and you always want to keep an eye out for anything that can dismount you. Now, normally this refers to eels as well as the jellyfish. The anglerfish does, of course, have or will be stunned by them, and it will get dismounted, and no matter how tanky it is, of course, it will end up dying. So as you can see, I've got a dead Mosasaur here. This is the trap itself. It is on a 8x8 square foundation. All around it are the behemoth gates, and at the top we have ceilings. Now, obviously, ceilings cannot clip onto the gate, so I'm going to show you how I did that. The idea is you want to swim in here with your anglerfish and then swim out once the Mosasaur. As you can see, there are pillars right there, which is what is holding up the ceilings. Now, do bear in mind that the tech gates are, of course, 12 walls tall, so you'll want to go with 11 pillars high. This is the exit right here once the Mosasaur is in, and I showed you that I have deliberately left some gaps on the side if I need to swim in and out of the trap. You don't have to. You can put the gates in a square and make them flush so that nothing can get out. You still have an exit. With that being said, and then time to go and find me a Mosasaur. There we go. We have a very unhappy Mosasaur following me. You will want to let it give you a nibble from time to time so that it does not focus on anything else, and you do want to keep it at a distance where it is focused on you, but you don't swim too far off to get the Mosasaur to lose aggro. So it is following me. I am going to deliberately wait for it. Now, one thing that happens is if you swim into the trap, it can sometimes lose aggro, so you will need to swim out. Okay, it's in. I'm going to try and close the trap from the inside. That did not work, so I'm going outside. I'm going to swim around the trap and try and shut the gate. And hopefully that did it. Let's see if it's in. Okay, I can still see it inside. No, it's not inside. Okay, so I did not shut the gate. That kind of sucks. That was a bit of lag right there. That's what can happen, but if it does happen, do not worry. Just re-aggro the Mosasaur. The Mosasaur. I'm getting the Mosa and the plesiosaur confused, which I don't know why. I guess that just looks like a inverted plesiosaur. Instead of having a long neck, it has a long tail. So once again, same thing. As you can see, it's following me, and the lost aggro because I'm in the trap. So once again, re-aggro. This can happen a couple of times, but I am in no danger at any time. I did make sure that the area around me is as safe as can be. So I'm going to swim slowly in here, let it follow me, Gonna make my way up to this end right here. Now, one thing to bear in mind is that the... Oh, this is not working. Geesh. I had to spam E there to get the gates to close. That was quite rather annoying. But what I wanted to say is that the Mosasaur does have a large turning radius, so that can play into your advantage in that by the time it ends up turning full circle to come out to the gate, which is still open, the gate should already be shut. Now, it is biting that corner. I do not want to get close to it. The Mosasaur does do a lot of damage. I am looking around because I've seen some eels and I've also seen a manta, and I don't really want these guys getting too close to me whilst I'm trying to knock it out. As usual, I will park my anglerfish here. And of course, for those that want to know how to build this trap in more detail, I will also link a video at some point. I'll do it at the beginning of the video as well as at the end. As you can see, the Mosasaur is now trapped in. You will need several crossbows. If you don't have an ascendant one or higher quality, you can do this with the normal crossbows. Just bring several with you. I recommend 3 to 4 crossbows. That tends to do that. You can use whatever method you want to knock out the Mosasaur once it's in the trap. I'm just going to go for the trank arrows and the crossbow. It's what most people will have, and obviously for the purposes of keeping this video simple, I'm just going to use that. Now, obviously, you will probably not have access to tech armor, so scuba gear will work just as fine. You do tend to move a lot faster in the water when you swim with a scuba set, and that is due to the flippers, but you will have less visibility. And the only reason I chose to use the tech armor is for the visibility, so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. For the time being, the Mosasaur is not aggroed on me, so I'll take advantage of it. Once the Mosasaur's torpor reaches a high enough level, it will want to swim away, and there's a little fun thing that sometimes happens with the Mosasaur, which I'm about to show you right now. So look at its spine. As I go to the left, it looks to the left. When I go to the right, it looks to the right. This is a form of entertainment for myself as I'm putting arrows in it. I just find this quite funny, which is why I wanted to kind of cut in. I think the Mosasaur still has quite a bit to go before it is knocked out. It is trying to swim away from me, which is good. That means we're not far from it, but I still need to put many more arrows into it. Once it starts swimming away, you do want to slow down with the speed at which you are putting arrows into it. You do not want to hit it once it's passed out, once it's unconscious, because you will lose taming effectiveness, which will result in the loss of levels and, of course, stats. I have brought my anglerfish inside the trap. There's no point in keeping it out there. The Mosasaur has no interest in me at this point in time, and it does want to swim off and, of course, try and get rid of me. I did accidentally put an arrow in it. I was rushing. I was trying to pack it full of arrows, which is the exact same thing I told you not to do, and you'll see why later in the video. I guess this will show you what happens when you do put an arrow in it once, or hit it, or if it takes any damage after it's been knocked out. From this point forth, I am going to use the starving technique, and I am actually going to show you how to do that. So first things first, I will of course just put all of the narcotics in there. So it is on a 2x taming speed, and so that means I should need somewhere around 356 narcotics. This information you can get by using Dodo Decks, as well as how long to starve it for before you will have it fully tamed. It is an amazing app that you can find both for Android and Apple devices, iOS devices, and it will help with taming. It will tell you all the creatures, what they require for taming, what is the best food, and it will even tell you with the worst foods how long it'll take you to tame it, starve it, and all that good information. Definitely an app worth getting. As you can see, the Mosasaur's torpor does go quite down, but do not panic. What I tend to do is I let the torpor go down up to the letter T of the word torpor or torpidity, and then feed it a stack of 150 narcotics. Let that do its thing whilst the torpidity is going up. It's not going down. When it starts going down, I'll give it another stack of 100 narcotics, and so on. Due to the amount of torpidity that the Mosasaur has, with 100 to 150 narcotics, it will not reach its full torpidity, but whilst it's not going up, or whilst it's not going down, it's going up. That does buy us time. And as you can see, I'm close to the letter T, so I've just fed it 150 narcotics. I was getting a bit impatient there, and I just worry about me being distracted, because that's what I'm doing. You know, I'm trying to keep myself entertained, so I don't want it to wake up. And from this point forth, I'm just going to wait for the torpor to go up to the point where it stops, and then it goes back down again, and I'll give it another 100 to 200 narcotics. And that should take about an hour and 10 minutes. I'll see you guys when it's ready for the kibble. Alright guys, here we are. It's been just a little over an hour by my calculations. It should be fairly ready to accept the kibble. And as you can see, it's not been starved all the way. It's just been starved sufficiently so that it eats kibble after kibble, and therefore more or less instantly tames. I think I have been a bit impatient here with regards to the waiting, so I might have to wait an extra minute. I think I went a minute too soon with the kibble, but that's fine. Once you put it in, you don't want to take it out. You're committed to it, so you just have to wait it out. So we'll see exactly how long it'll take for the last feed. As you can see, it's almost fully fed, and we still have a bit more to go on the taming bar. At this point in time, I do have some spare narcotics with me should I need it. However, the torpor isn't going down fast enough compared to the food consumption rate, so I reckon by my calculations that the Mosasaurus should tame before it runs out of torpor. So I'm just going to wait this one out. I reckon I'm a bit too early by probably, I'd say, a minute and a half or so, like that. That's fine. That's just me getting impatient. The very important thing here is, if you do what I've done, you don't want to remove the kibble. Once you've put the kibble in and it's already been starved to the point where it's eaten even one kibble, you don't want to remove it, because you will then lose taming effectiveness. So this is quite important there. Now I have my saddle at the ready whenever the Mosasaurus decides to feed. I think it needs to lose somewhere around 120 or so of hunger before it wants another kibble. I did slightly miscalculate that. I kind of estimated it at 100, but it's kind of like 120. So that was where my mistake was. I did use Dodo decks, but then I kind of lost track of time, and so that's where all the problems happened. But that's fine. It's okay. Nothing to worry about. Eventually, the Mosasaurus will eat. So I constantly check on it to make sure that the torpor is steady. Now I know on the bar it doesn't look like a lot, but it is sufficient for, as you just see now, the Mosasaurus to tame out. Also, it should have tamed out at a 99.9 effectiveness. I got 98 point whatever effectiveness, so I did lose a level because of that, and that was because I hit it when I shouldn't have. As you can see, because I fed it a ton of kibble, ton of narcotics, it is still gaining torpidity. And obviously, as I've said, the Mosasaurus is one of the more powerful creatures in the sea. Definitely worth getting. It is more powerful than the Plesiosaur. However, just like the Plesiosaur, it is weak to stun from the Electroforce and the Jellyfish. So do bear that in mind. If you end up surrounded by a lot of these, by the time you take it out, your Mosasaur is most likely to have been killed. Normally, they're not by themselves. They'll have sharks and other stuff around them. So do bear that in mind. That is very, very, very important. There are creatures that are immune to that, and I will cover that in a future episode. That is pretty much it for this particular video, folks. I do hope that you have enjoyed it and found it useful and informative. If you have, please don't forget to support me on the channel by hitting that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already for more similar content from myself. And if you have just subscribed, why not check out some of my other videos and guides here on this channel? Who knows, you might just enjoy them. And don't forget to hit that bell icon so that you get notified when I upload new videos and content to the channel. Also, for those interested, you can always find me on the Sethtopia Discord. Links to this, of course, you can find down below in the video description, as well as in a pinned comment from myself. Until next time, stay safe, folks.